Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Jonathan Rone reveals how he felt seeing Joan Vassos again. Jonathan Rone revealed how he felt seeing Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos again at the Men Tell All special. The men she sent home got to see each other again, as well as the leading lady they all dated. Jonathan was a fan favorite on Joan's season, and many hoped to see him move on to be the Golden Bachelor. After the taping of the Men Tell All, media outlets caught up with the contestants to talk to them about their experiences. One question asked of Jonathan was how he felt seeing Joan again. What did he say? Keep reading to find out more. How did Jonathan Rone feel seeing Joan Vassos again? It has often been said that when contestants see the lead again on the Men Tell All or the Women Tell All, old feelings surface. Of course, this can be true no matter how old those involved are. So after the special times that Jonathan Rone and Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos had together, how did he feel when he saw her again? Extra TV caught up with Jonathan to get the scoop. They asked him if old feelings resurfaced when he saw Joan come out on stage. He agreed with the interviewer that Joan looked beautiful. He always loved how she carried herself with elegance and grace. Jonathan also shared that it was good to see her because he hadn't seen her in a while. However, he feels that he had his time with her, and it allowed them time to explore their relationship to see if they could form something long-term. Sadly, that didn't work out, and he was fine when they ended things. Jonathan said, as beautiful as Joan is, when he saw her walk out, he just saw a friend. He shared he's seeing someone. The interviewer also pointed out that Jonathan Rone also only saw a friend when Joan Vassos walked out because he revealed he is seeing someone. He didn't reveal who his new girlfriend is. However, he did say he is very happy. Since he is dating someone, he will obviously not be the next Golden Bachelor. With Jonathan out of the running, who would you want to see take on the role as the next lead? Several of the men have expressed interest in the role. Jonathan Rone had always prided himself on being a man who could navigate the stormiest of seas with steady resolve. But nothing could have prepared him for the tidal wave of emotions that struck when he saw Joan Vassos again. It wasn't just the glittering set of the Golden Bachelorette, or the fact that cameras captured his every move. It was Joan herself. The woman he'd once shared a whirlwind romance with now stood before him, radiant and confident, her presence both intoxicating and intimidating. The first glimpse. When Jonathan first heard the news that Joan was the lead for the Golden Bachelorette, he was floored. Memories of their past flashed in vivid detail. Shared sunsets on the Amalfi Coast, heated debates over which pasta shape was superior, and the bittersweet goodbye that left them both wounded but wiser. He had entered the show hoping for closure, or perhaps the chance to rekindle something he thought had been extinguished long ago. But seeing her in person, dressed in a gown that seemed to shimmer with her every movement, Jonathan realized the flame had never truly died. "I didn't expect to feel so raw," Jonathan admitted in a post-show interview. "The moment I saw her, it was like no time had passed. She had that same spark, that same way of making everyone in the room feel like they were the only person who mattered. It was both exhilarating and terrifying. A collision of past and present." The reunion wasn't scripted, but it might as well have been written by a team of Hollywood's finest dramatists. As Jonathan stepped out of the limo, he rehearsed a casual greeting in his mind. Be cool. Be charming. Don't let her see how nervous you are. But when their eyes met, all pretense melted away. "Jonathan," Joan said softly, her smile wavering for a split second before solidifying into the composed expression she was known for. "Joan," he replied, his voice cracking ever so slightly. The air between them was charged with unspoken words and unresolved feelings. For a brief moment, it seemed as though the rest of the world had faded, leaving just the two of them and the history they shared. Seeing Joan again was surreal, Jonathan later reflected. It was like looking at a painting you once loved but hadn't seen in years. The colors were the same, but the perspective had shifted. I wasn't sure if I wanted to admire it from afar or step closer and risk discovering imperfections. The night that rekindled everything. The cocktail party that followed the reunion was a blur of introductions, small talk, and champagne flutes clinking in the background. Jonathan struggled to focus on the other contestants, his mind tethered to Joan and the moments they'd shared before the cameras rolled. When the time came for their one-on-one conversation, he felt a mixture of anticipation and dread. "Why did you come here, Jonathan?" Joan asked, her tone light but her eyes searching. He hesitated, the weight of his answer pressing heavily on his chest. "I came because you're the one who got away. And I don't think I ever stopped wondering what if." Joan's expression softened, and for a brief moment, Jonathan saw a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. "That's a big what if," she murmured. "A lot has changed since then." "I know," he said, leaning forward slightly, "but some things haven't." The conversation ended with no clear resolution, but Jonathan left with a renewed sense of purpose. He wasn't just another suitor vying for Joan's heart. He was a man determined to explore the possibilities of a second chance. The weight of expectations. As the weeks went on, Jonathan found himself grappling with the complexities of being on the Golden Bachelorette. The competitive atmosphere, the relentless scrutiny of the cameras, and the constant comparisons to other contestants tested his patience and resolve. But through it all, his connection with Joan remained his anchor. "There were moments when I doubted myself," Jonathan confessed. "I wondered if I was good enough, if Joan even saw me as more than a relic from her past. But every time we talked, every time she smiled at me, it felt like the universe was telling me to keep going." Their conversations ranged from lighthearted banter about their favorite travel destinations to deep, soul-searching discussions about their hopes and fears. Jonathan found himself rediscovering Joan in new ways, appreciating not just the woman he had fallen for years ago, but also the person she had become. A roller coaster of emotions. The journey wasn't without its challenges. Jonathan struggled with jealousy as he watched Joan form connections with other contestants. He questioned whether their history gave him an advantage or made him more vulnerable to heartbreak. But he also learned to embrace the uncertainty, realizing that love was never meant to be easy or predictable. "Seeing Joan with other guys was tough," Jonathan admitted, "but it also forced me to focus on what I could control, being honest, being present, and showing her that I was here for the right reasons." One of the most poignant moments came during a group date when Joan surprised the contestants with a memory box filled with mementos from her life. Among the items was a postcard from Santorini, a place Jonathan and Joan had visited together during their brief but passionate romance. When Joan handed the postcard to Jonathan, their eyes met, and a silent understanding passed between them. It was a reminder of their shared past and a subtle acknowledgement of the possibility of a shared future. The final rose ceremony. As the journey neared its end, Jonathan found himself standing at a crossroads. He knew that his feelings for Joan were real, but he also knew that love required more than just chemistry and nostalgia. It required trust, commitment, and the willingness to embrace an uncertain future. When the final rose ceremony arrived, Jonathan stood before Joan, his heart pounding with anticipation. She held the rose delicately, her expression unreadable. "Jonathan," she began, her voice steady but tinged with emotion, "you've shown me that some connections are timeless. You've reminded me of the beauty of taking risks and the power of forgiveness. But more importantly, you've shown me that love is worth fighting for." As she extended the rose toward him, Jonathan felt a surge of relief and gratitude. It wasn't just about the rose. It was about the journey they had taken to get to this moment, and the journey that lay ahead. "I'm all in," he said, his voice firm and unwavering. "For you, for us, for whatever comes next."